All right, let's just jump right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to trace an absolutely fascinating 79-year journey. We are diving deep into the evolution of UFO sightings, starting all the way back in the summer of 1947 and bringing us right up to the unprecedented government disclosures of 2026. And what we're really going to uncover today is how public perception has dramatically shifted over the decades. Going from widespread, almost frantic alien hysteria to modern-day skepticism and cold, hard military pragmatism. We have a lot of incredible data to get through, so let's get started.
But first, I want to hook you right away with a seriously bizarre incident from 2023. Picture this. At an undisclosed location in America, you have two federal agents on a routine evening operation. Suddenly, they spot this glowing, orange, ball-shaped object hovering in the sky. And over the next 2 days, 3 totally different teams of highly trained agents witness the exact same thing. But here's where it gets truly wild. These agents literally watched as this massive orange mothership launched smaller red glowing orbs that flew forward, up, down, just completely erratically before the whole entire thing vanished in a matter of seconds.
And the story definitely doesn't end there. Fast forward to 2025 and see how this escalates. A senior intelligence official flies a helicopter out to that exact same location. Sure enough, they spot another hovering orb. But the moment the helicopter moves toward it to investigate, the orb instantly shifts 20 miles away. It moves so incredibly fast that the helicopter couldn't even track it. Then it launches 4 to 5 smaller orbs just buzzing around the sky for 35 minutes. Now, what makes this whole escalation so compelling is the credibility of the witnesses. These aren't just random internet conspiracy theorists, these are highly trained U.S. government agents making sworn statements about objects performing impossible physics. So, before we go further, we really need to establish exactly what we're talking about here. A UFO, or unidentified flying object, is quite simply an aerial phenomenon that cannot immediately be explained. That's it. Yet historically, the public has permanently linked that acronym to alien spaceships. But as we'll see, this phenomenon spans across decades and borders. It's a global pattern that we are going to decode, basically separating the science fiction from the military facts.
Section 1. The birth of flying saucers, focusing on the 1947 Roswell era. To understand how we got to glowing orange motherships in 2025, we have to go back to where it all began.
Just look at how rapidly everything escalated in the summer of 1947. Talk about whiplash. On day 0, which was June 24th, a pilot named Kenneth Arnold spots 9 shining objects over Mount Rainier in Washington state, and they're flying at an impossible 1,200 miles per hour. Just 14 days later, a farmer in Roswell, New Mexico finds strange tinfoil and rubber debris in his field. Day 15, the Roswell Army Airfield puts out a massive global press release claiming they recovered a flying disc. And then, literally the very next day, the military does a massive U-turn. They completely retract the statement, claiming it was just a weather balloon. Just like that, in a little over 2 weeks, global alien hysteria was born.
Actually, let's look at Kenneth Arnold's original sighting again, because this brilliantly illustrates how a simple misunderstanding can literally change history. When reporters asked Arnold what the objects looked like, he didn't actually say they were shaped like saucers. He was describing their movement. He said they were moving in the way a saucer would if you skipped it across water. But the newspapers completely misunderstood his quote. They assumed he meant the shape itself, so they printed the headline, "Flying Saucers," and forever changed the global vocabulary. From that one simple typo, a massive cultural obsession was minted.
Section 2. UFOs in the Space Age, Beyond Earth's Orbit. As the decades rolled on, this mystery actually followed humanity right out of the atmosphere. So it's 1965, and the Gemini 7 mission is in orbit. Just over 4 hours into the flight, astronaut Frank Borman radios Houston with a phrase that genuinely shocked ground control: "Bogey at 10 o'clock high." Now, context is everything here. In military language, a bogey means an unidentified enemy aircraft or missile. It's a wartime term used down here on Earth. Using it in the vacuum of space made absolutely no sense. But Borman confirmed he wasn't just looking at his own discarded booster rocket. This was a distinct, third, unidentified object. This was officially the very first UFO sighted in space. And Borman definitely wasn't an isolated case. Consider these other major space mission anomalies. During Apollo 11, Buzz Aldrin reported unexplained light flashes inside the cabin and a sparkling laser-like light source down on the moon. Apollo 12 astronauts witnessed bizarre light particles hovering near their landing site. And perhaps most famously, a photograph from the 1972 Apollo 17 mission clearly shows 3 dots in a triangular formation hovering right above the moon. Now, the government recently conceded these could indeed be physical objects.
Because these were highly credible, trained astronauts reporting this, these sightings firmly cemented the public's perception that we were undoubtedly being visited by extraterrestrials.
Section 3. Modern Disclosures, Declassified Files. Now, let's fast forward to the present day, where everything changed with an unprecedented release of information.
On May 8, 2026, the U.S. Department of War dropped an absolute bombshell on the public. They released 162 previously classified top-secret files. This massive data dump included old FBI documents, Pentagon reports, and, critically, 28 videos and 14 images of objects that seemed to completely defy the basic laws of physics.
Let's break down the hard data from these modern files, because this is where it gets really interesting. In 2023, over the ocean in Greece, U.S. military infrared sensors tracked an object making 90-degree turns at 80 miles per hour. That is something impossible for any known drone due to, well, basic inertia. In 2024, in Iraq, an object evaded advanced surveillance at extreme speeds. Over in Syria, semi-transparent orange areas appeared out of nowhere and vanished in just 2 seconds. And over in Japan, a football-shaped object with 3 strange projections was spotted in the Indo-Pacific. There's a very clear pattern emerging here across all these events. An object appears, performs impossible physics, and then instantly disappears.
Section 4. Unmasking the military secrets. Unmasking the truth. So, what does this all mean? Are these aliens, or is there a much more terrestrial explanation?
Between 1952 and 1969, the U.S. government actually ran Project Blue Book to investigate the rapidly growing number of UFO sightings. They investigated over 12,000 cases in total. Now, the vast majority were easily explained away as weather balloons, airplanes, satellites, or even just bright stars. But exactly 701 cases remained completely 100% unexplained.
And this is where the truth gets deeply, deeply fascinating. When you compare public perception with the government reality, the contrast is stark. For decades, the public fully believed Roswell was a crashed alien spaceship and the government was hiding alien bodies. But in 1994 and 1997, the Air Force finally declassified the truth. Roswell was actually Project Mogul. These were highly classified Cold War spy balloons designed specifically to monitor Soviet nuclear tests. And those alien bodies people talked about? They were literal test dummies dropped from aircraft for military experiments. The U.S. government actually allowed the alien rumors to flourish because it perfectly hid their Cold War espionage from the Soviets. It was a perfect cover story.
So, when we look at the truth behind the vast majority of modern sightings, we see a distinct geographic pattern. UFOs are overwhelmingly spotted near active U.S. military zones, places like the Strait of Hormuz, Iraq, Syria, or domestic bases. Why is that? Well, because these so-called UFOs are usually either highly classified U.S. advanced spy planes being tested, or they are foreign surveillance tools like Chinese spy balloons and Iranian drones. And as for those space anomalies we talked about earlier, even Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin suggested the Apollo light flashes were likely just sunlight leaking through window covers, atomic particles, or reflections from smooth lakes down on Earth.
Section 5. Public Perception, a Shifting Narrative. After nearly 80 years of weather balloons, impossible flight paths, and intense government secrets, where exactly do we stand today?
Well, in 2022, the U.S. Defense Department set up the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, better known as ARO, to finally investigate everything from 1945 right up to the present day. In their definitive 2024 report, their conclusion was incredibly blunt. They stated there is absolutely zero evidence that the U.S. government possesses extraterrestrial technology and zero evidence of alien reverse engineering. The vast majority of UFOs, they concluded, are ordinary objects. We're talking drones, weather balloons, spy planes, and satellites, nothing from another world.
But, the constant drip of declassified files still raises a lot of eyebrows. There is a theory presented by the former chief of the AARO office that suggests a more political angle to these modern disclosures. The claim is that the Trump administration specifically released unexplained UFO files, totally devoid of any context or analysis, in order to actively fuel public speculation and conspiracies. The theory argues this was used as a calculated distraction from major political controversies happening at the time, like the Epstein files. The idea is essentially utilizing the fact that mystery thrives where transparency is absent, creating a perfect smokescreen.
And that leaves us with a pretty profound question to end this explainer. Look at the facts we've covered. We have vast, documented evidence of spy balloons, top-secret military testing, and foreign surveillance drones. Yet the very moment a weird light flickers in the sky, our minds almost automatically jump to extraterrestrials. Why is society so incredibly captivated by the idea of aliens even when the grounded evidence points straight to military tech? Do we actually prefer the enduring mystery of the unknown over the complex, sometimes uncomfortable reality of global espionage? It's definitely something to think about the next time a headline promises a message from the stars. Thanks for joining me on this explainer today, and keep your eyes on the skies, but more importantly, on the facts.